Um, 200 people on the plane. I'm sitting with in the 3 row only, right? There's three of us. Seemingly randomly. I thought life was random to that moment. That was the last one. That's when I put it all together. But the lady says to me on the plane flying back to Los Angeles, "What are you doing next weekend?" I go, "I'm free. Why?" She goes, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I'm like, "Of course. Of course. It's on me," is the key word, right? These things can be expensive. I'm thirsty. I want to learn everything. That's my brain at this point. I'm just curious about everything. And, if you're a specialist in something, you're passionate about something, I want to know because there's juice there, right? So I agree to go to the workshop. And then I asked the question, like, what's the workshop about? And she's like, oh, it's called Understanding Women. Yeah, when I tell that story, my friends are always like, there's no such thing, dude. What the hell? Right? No
You've
such
said
thing.
yes already.
But I said yes already. And then you have to understand, I'm just going to bring the mic closer. I don't know if it's better. Um, um, because I have an artistic personality, I, so I do, okay. I thought that was my reason for success, my success with ladies. So I always attracted sweet, sweet, sweet women. That was my experience with women. You meet my wife, you go, oh my God, she's so lovely. I go, of course. But that was always what I attracted. I didn't do the crazy stuff my friends did, the yelling, the screaming, the misunderstanding, right? So I thought it was me, though I couldn't have explained it. I just thought it was me. Anyway, so understanding women, really? What are you going to teach me about women? Like, really? Like, I wasn't arrogant. It was just like that. I don't need this, right? But now I'm committed, so I went. Thought it was going to be cute. I was at a big hotel in by the airport, so that was a 40-minute drive on my Saturday morning where I wanted to sleep in, but no, I'm going to Understanding Women. Okay. Walked in the place, 400 people in the space. Instantly, like, oh, this isn't cute. Something's going on here.
Andre Paradis, thank you so much
Yes.
for joining me. You have an interesting story and an interesting background. So, without further ado, could you just give us a brief background about what it is that got you to doing what
Whew.
you're doing right now?
The relationship, yeah, coaching. So I'm going to try to go fast. It's a long story because there's 3 phases to it, but quickly. Um, I was born in a family of 5 kids. I was number 4. And at the age of 5, I realized my consciousness and my feelings came together, right? We do this at about 5 years old. Everybody kind of wakes up at 5 and realize what the hell's going on here, right? A lot of us is we make decisions about the world, ourselves, people, and in life. I'm not lovable. You can't trust people. I'm not good enough, right? At 5. And then becomes our track in life. Mine was, I'm not supposed to be here. So my mother didn't want me. She was pregnant by accident, resented it, and resented me onwards. At 5 years old, in a family setting, I realized I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not part of these people. They don't like me. I don't like them. Like, this is a mistake that was made somewhere. Like, very strange, right? So at 5 years old, terrified, but at the same time, like, this is what I see it. This is what's happening. Like, this is something is really, really wrong here. So what happened is my internal radar became an external radar. I started watching the world, trying to understand my circumstances and how does that happen? How does that happen? How does that happen? Right? Just trying to. So I became an observer of people. I used to watch people. I was a kid in the corner watching everybody at school, like, and then became fascinated with the human condition because, like, why is this dude, 15-year-old with swag, and this one's a dork, and this one's a brainiac, and you can't even shake his hands. It doesn't know this chick is loose. This one is the queen. Like, so how do people get to be them, right? So by watching that, I became fascinated. Again, it was trying to figure out where I belong in the first place because I didn't belong here. But so how do I fit in anyway? So I've been watching people since 5 years old, which is interesting because you anything you do to that level at all times becomes like a fine tool. And so I can now, and it's been a while now, I could look at someone and just focus on them a little bit as they walk by, and I pick up who they are. Like I could feel what they're feeling. I could tell if they're angry, overwhelmed, rushed, whatever. Right. So okay, interesting. So, but it's helpful in my work. Um, Phase two of my development is at the age of 23, I started taking personal development classes. Try to I had nothing. I mean, I kind of raised myself, right? Like, so I didn't know who I was. So, like, I knew there was something to my life. I was here for a reason, even though I didn't know why. And really, when I was a teen, I didn't think I was going to be here very long because I'm not supposed to be here. Like, this whole thing is a mistake, right? But I always had this little tug in my heart that says, yeah, keep going, keep going. There's a reason. So that kept me going. Whisper, I call it God whisper. Every time I thought about it, no, no. I'm like, okay, really, but this is terrible. No, anyway. So personal development to find my way, to find my life, to find my purpose, to find out what I'm made of. Really, like, why am I here? You know what I mean? 23 years old. I've been a workshop head ever since. So fast forward 2006, after doing this for years. I have a different business at the time. I stopped dancing and I opened a car shop in Los Angeles because I wanted to raise my kids and be present. So had to stop traveling. So I did. I grounded myself in the city in a more brick and mortar business. So I couldn't leave. Literally on purpose by design. And I did really well. I mean, consider Los Angeles as a city that's 100 miles long and everybody's commuting back and forth to work and everybody's got 30, 45 minutes, hour commutes from right. This is Los Angeles. I managed my business with 6 minutes from my house, and the house was 2 blocks from the school. So by design, both my wife and I were at every recital, every Christmas parade, every whatever parade. Like we're in the audience, whatever was happening, because I designed my life that way, and that was important to me because I didn't have any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 2006, I'm in a workshop in Northern California about business. On the flight back, I'm sitting in this row with this couple that I met, and this is another pivotal moment. That was the big one as far as what I'm doing now. They were all big, but this one was like the last one. 200 people on the plane. I'm sitting with in the 3 row only, right? There's three of us. Seemingly randomly. I thought life was random to that moment. That was the last one. That's when I put it all together. But the lady says to me on the plane flying back to Los Angeles, what are you doing next weekend? I go, I'm free. Why? She goes, you want to come to a workshop? It's on me. I'm like, of course. Of course. It's on me is the key word, right? These things can be expensive. I'm thirsty. I want to learn everything. That's my brain at this point. I'm just curious about everything. And, if you're a specialist in something, you're passionate about something, I want to know because there's juice there, right? So I agree to go to the workshop. And then I asked the question, like, what's the workshop about? And she's like, oh, it's called Understanding Women. Yeah, when I tell that story, my friends are always like, there's no such thing, dude. What the hell? Right? No
You've
such
said
thing.
yes already.
But I said yes already. And then you have to understand, I'm just going to bring the mic closer. I don't know if it's better. Um, um, because I have an artistic personality, I, so I do, okay. I thought that was my reason for success, my success with ladies. So I always attracted sweet, sweet, sweet women. That was my experience with women. You meet my wife, you go, oh my God, she's so lovely. I go, of course. But that was always what I attracted. I didn't do the crazy stuff my friends did, the yelling, the screaming, the misunderstanding, right? So I thought it was me, though I couldn't have explained it. I just thought it was me. Anyway, so understanding women, really? What are you going to teach me about women? Like, really? Like, I wasn't arrogant. I was just like, that. I don't need this, right? But now I'm committed, so I went. Thought it was going to be cute. I was at a big hotel by the airport, so that was a 40-minute drive on my Saturday morning where I wanted to sleep in, but no, I'm going to Understanding Women. Okay. Walked in the place, 400 people in the space. Instantly, like, oh, this isn't cute. Something's going on here. And sure enough, after when the workshop was over, my brain was all over the walls. I was upset. My wife said I came home. I was white as a ghost. I was really, really upset because I realized the guy who thought he knew women realized that I knew nothing about women, not even a little bit. Seriously, I slipped off my chair 7 times during the workshop. Like came off my chair, and there was women around all the men because there was men and women in the space. And it would confirm with the girl next to us, like, how's that? That's how we are. And just kind of confirm things that's unthinkable from a male perspective. 7 times, maybe eight. Like, so I come home I come home with I don't know nothing about women. But the worst part is that means I know nothing about my wife. By then, we have 2 little kids. I have my family. My life is working. You don't struggle with this yet, is what came to my mind because now understanding how she operates, why she takes things personally, even if it's not personal, why can't she let that go? Right. And so I understood all the liabilities. And again, all my siblings, the other four of my family, are all married and divorced twice and 3 times. I was not going to be a liability because I didn't know. You see what I'm saying? Like my brain is just would not allow that. Like, so I came home like upset, like I know nothing, and I don't want to ruin my family, so I need to learn. And that's how it started. So I took all their workshops. They had like 10 or 11 workshops. I took all of them, and then I went back after you pay for the workshops, you could assist for free, be in the space, right, and assist as a helper. I was in every weekend. I was in the same learning because every time they say it differently, there's different questions, right? The more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing of these creatures. And also learning about me and those some of those workshops are about, the discovery of self as males as well and what drives us, our chemistry, our anthropology, right? Or like all of that. Like so the more I learned, the more I realized I needed to learn, continue learning. So that's how I ended up working with Dr. John Gray, Esther Perel, Shanti Felhan, Dr. Pat Allen in Los Angeles here. She's a family child marriage therapist for 46 years. I sat in a room with her for 3.5 years, teaching me everything she learned. Like me and like 4 other people, like semi-private kind of settings, right? Like all the stuff she learned in 46 years of her career. Like, so I have this information that I kept eating up, and that became the business. So I opened the business in 2009. I was compelled to teach this stuff. I started with my friends, and then my customers at work would like drop their cars off for repairs, and then spill their entire lives on me. Like I was always that guy. I'm not sure how that works necessarily, but the guy that people just talk to, like complete strangers, and so that happens so much. And then I have information, I have guidance, I could explain it, I could talk to you about it, I could, even guess how you got there, like. So I would have to shut the door, my office doors, because the employees actually knew if the door is closed, somebody's crying, don't come in. And the door was closed a lot. That's how it all started. So, 2006, 2009, I officially started Project Equinox Coaching, and they both grew, if so much so that I had to actually sell the business in order to do this full time. This is my God calling, and it's my job. The calling, the big calling. Thank you. I used to present it is my job as a disruptor to teach this to the masses to kind of reframe the whole dynamic in relationships out in the world. Because everything that's out there right now doesn't work for relationships. Everything that they teach us, the new normal, is not working. And everything that's old school or more traditional is crap. Well, no, we have to go back to this. So my mission is to get on platforms, and thank you for helping me being a disruptor. You are a disruptor as well. I'm just going to tell you. And what we're doing is sending this stuff out there to, really kind of spread the word. There is hope. It is doable. There's a modern way to do classical, traditional ways to relate that is satisfying for men and women, but it's not out there, right? So that's my job. So thank you for helping me spread the word, spread the hope. Ladies and gentlemen, there is hope. It is doable. And it's not about the 50s. I'm not about going back to the 50s. I get accused of that all the time. Should we just dumb it down for you guys? I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. Please don't make me curse at you, because I will. Like, feminists love to hate me like I'm trying to get women backwards. That's not even close. I'm a lover of women. I'm a lover of people. I want to help and stop the confusion, the frustrations, the misunderstanding, and the suffering that happens not knowing how what's more traditional is what I want to say. Period. So sorry, I that's how we get to be here.
Wow. That's quite a
Oof.
journey.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a coincidence you were on an aeroplane, like closer to God
No kidding.
up there.
No kidding.
So my question is, had you not said yes first, would you have gone?
No. To that workshop?
Yeah.
Not actually maybe. Thinking knowing my brain, I probably would still have what? I don't know. I my first reaction was it's gonna be cute. And only until I was there, I realized it wasn't cute. You know what I mean? So if I got stuck with this is gonna be cute, I might have kept the weekend for myself. Interesting. Good question. Never thought of it. I don't know really for sure, but
Well, you said it was a special weekend where you could sleep in. So
yeah.
you probably would have said your life's more important, and that's not important. And this is, I think, what women get because women try. I'm going to ask you those questions because I'm a woman.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
my question is, why do men not want to hear when a woman says, I want to explain?
What I want to explain?
Yeah, women want to explain something, men don't want to hear it.
Well, it's not that. It's that we often, oh God, do I want to go there? I'm going to go there. So women talk a lot. That's a fact, right? Because it's not because you're crazy, it's because you're like insecure, it's because this is how you connect. This you feel safe, right? You talk to your girlfriends as long as she's in the dance with you. Oh my goodness, of course, it's so cute. Oh, those shoes are amazing, right? All the stuff that you do that we look at you do and we don't know why you're doing this because we don't connect that way. This is how you ladies connect, and it's how you're trying to connect to us. You talk a lot, right? But men don't understand why you're talking because typically there's no point, and you're going in circles with all kinds of stuff. So we get overwhelmed because for us, when we speak, there's always a point, right? So when there's no point, we learn that women just make noise with their faces, so we don't listen. So, like this, the research on this, like men hear about 25% of what you ladies are saying, women are saying 25%, because a lot of it is noise that we learned that is overwhelming, literally. So, right, there's a way to set up a man though, so he actually pays attention to what you're saying. But if you let us be in the wild, we learn that you talk for no reason for too long, and it's not important because there's no point, right? So but even then, when you say like, it's no more feminine, also want to explain because you want to be pleasing and pleasant, and you want to make sure that nobody is mad at you for taking it personally. So you'll say no, let's say to like, like you say to my wife, like, do you want to blah, 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 right? I'd like you to come with me for this thing because well, I don't, I have a class, so I don't feel like going. I don't want to go. I'm like, okay. She goes, no, let me explain. It's because I got I go, I don't need, I just don't want to go. That's fine. But, yeah, and I'm like, stop. I got it. Don't stop. Right. But to her, that's rude because she's trying to explain why she's being displeasing in her mind, right? Because you'll judge yourself for these things. You'll judge yourself for saying no. You judge yourself for not being available, helpful, right? Making sure everybody's good, right? That's the female paradigm. We don't have any of that. So you say you want to come, I got it. And don't explain. Don't explain. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to change the end result. So it's obvious you're not coming. I don't need to hear it. So we'll shut you down because there's no need for that. It's exhausting and it won't change anything. That's the reflex. So I don't know if
What
that
is the
helps.
right way?
What is the right way? Hey, that's my girl. That's a beautiful question. That's the stuff that I teach. So you have to understand first that for a man, we speak and listen completely differently. That's the huge part of it, right? We don't speak to connect. We speak to pass information. Period. Men will give you data right? There's a point, there's a reason. Sometimes it's important, so they start talking as soon as they walk in the house. You have to know this. I have to tell you this, right? And you like they blindside you, but if you did that to them, they don't listen. That's just right. That's that's part of our nature. We're different. That's the point. So you have to understand that. But if you want a man, if you understand again that we're used to filtering out most of what you're saying because it's irrelevant to most everything that I care about, you have to set me up, right? So then to set me up, you have to have my attention. The first thing you have to have is my attention. So if I'm sitting on the couch and that's, and you ask me what I'm doing and I say nothing, it's not true. Right? The nothing is often recharging, recovering from whatever it is I was doing, an effort or work or mowing the lawn or whatever. So when men sit and say nothing and do nothing, and if you ask them, they'll say nothing. It's not nothing. It's it's a rebuilding testosterone system, and we do that quietly without words. The TV could be on. I may not be watching. So what happened? Women, the guys just sitting there. Oh, this is my opportunity. Babe, we need to do those shelves in the office. It's been 6 weeks. I really want to. And he goes, what? And he gets irritated. You see, he'll go, can you relax? Oh, now he's just tone. Now he just hurt her feelings. He's just sitting there. He's doing nothing. I ask for help, and look how he responds. He obviously doesn't care for me, doesn't love me, doesn't respect me, and his starts a shit show, right? So that doesn't work. The fact that he's sitting there doing nothing, or if he's busy focused on anything, you can't just barrel into his head. He's going to get frustrated and you think he's a jerk, right? So set him up. So you need to share something with me that's important. Are you ready? Very simple. Here's the tools. Hey, babe, there's something I'd like to talk to you about that's important to me. You don't even have to say that. Just something, you just have to set him up, right? When's a good time? Hopefully today. You have to make an appointment. You have to set him up. Because if you just go, it often won't go well because he's not paying attention. He's not focused. That's not right. So he'll typically say, what? Something I want to share with you. When's a good time? Well, I'm going to Home Depot. I'll be about an hour. So when I come back, or let me finish this, I'll be in 10 minutes, right? That's a setup. That's how you get a man to be present. And then they come right back and go, what's up? Right. By the way, you don't say we need to talk. Do not use these words. You need to talk to a man as this. Okay, I'm in trouble. Let me get ready to defend myself. If you want a good conversation to go, don't say that. We need to talk on a man means I'm in trouble. And if a man says to a woman, we need to talk, she thinks we're breaking up. All right, so we don't use these words. Can I run something by you? I'd like to check something with you. Do you have a minute? I just want to share something with you. When's a good time? Set him up. Right, I'm telling you, and he comes back from Home Depot or like whatever he was doing in the garage, and he goes, "What's up?" Now you have all his attention. That's essential. That's how you start, and then you share what you want to share. The shelves on the floor in the office has been 6 weeks. I'd love for you to like figure out a way to put this, like to make a plan to help me put that right. Well, I know. I'm just saying. I'd like you to make the plan to put that. I'd like to decorate the room, repaint the room, whatever you want to do with the room. Give him a reason why, because men play for points. If there's no reason that he sees valuable, it's not important. And you're gonna find yourself asking it again and again and again and feeling frustrated because now you're nagging. Give him a reason. Otherwise, there's no reason to spend energy as a male. It's an instinct. We don't spend our energy frivolously. There has to be a good reason. And if that energy span is helping you and making you happy with me, done. All right? It's called instinct. Men want to please. Men are natural neurotic fixers. So we want to fix, want to and produce and provide the fixing and go, ta-da, I did it. Now I'm a hero. All I have to do is appreciate him for him. Whatever it is that you do, make him a sandwich and give him a kiss. Like a dog with a bone, the tail's wagging, he'll get more of that all day long. But set him up. Tell him why it's important to you, what it looks like, and why. And again, if it's no urgency to it, like the shelves in the office, right? He'll put it in his log. He may do it 3 weeks later. He may do it the next day. right? But men always have like a roster of things to be done. Something you ladies don't fully understand. You think we're not thinking because we're not talking. We're always thinking. That's why we're not talking. So you have to understand again our genetics and our instinct. So the best thing I say is, you put on his radar, right? And if it doesn't happen, right, you can remind him, but not more than you don't remind him more than that. This, you ask, you remind, and then you put it on the list next to his phone, next to his keys, just to remind him about the shelves. Oh shit, right. Oh shit, right, right. Now he's going to put it on his schedule somewhere. Let him do it. That's how you inspire a man to give you, to basically provide what you want, as opposed to, because if you demand, if you command, if you stomp your feet, if you get mad, right? That's not how you motivate a man. You'll get none of that if you approach him that way, which is when people do when they're frustrated. So we don't wait till we're frustrated. We set him up.
So does
You
it
like
help
that?
to ask them for a deadline? Like, by when do you think you could do it?
That's a setup. That would be part of a setup. You know what I mean? And he may say he won't say it. He will think, well, why does that matter to you? He needs to know why for you, so he could be the hero. That's instinct. So you have to work with his instinct as opposed to against it. Okay, get this. I'm going to say something terrible, but it's factual. It sounds terrible, but it's not. It's just what it is, right? Have you noticed as a woman with your significant other and throughout your history with others, right? That the more you ask, if you ask for more, better, or different anything, just asking it. I want us to spend more time together, right? That's an ask. Women will do this. You realize when you ask for anything better, different, or more of, you get less. Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Factual. Because to a
yeah.
man, even asking, this is going to sound ridiculous, but it's factual. It's just take it to the bank. This is factual, tested with men and all of us. And I'm one of them. I can tell you exactly, yes. Because even an ask lands often like a demand or a command. So ask for more time, you get less time. Ask for more intimacy, you get less intimacy. Not because he's a jerk, because he's a man, because you're taking his choice away from him by asking. So what you want to do is not ask, sounds ridiculous, right? But if you understand that asking is a command, which men don't respond to, right? So the feminine way to do this, to get everything you want, is to invite him. Now that's his choice. And now he wants to be the hero. And now he knows how to do it. And it gets done. Biology. It's
I noticed if you use certain words with men, you get a better response. And it's the same with children.
Mhm.
You get a better response just by, I mean, I changed one word and I would ask I'm divorced now, but I'd ask my husband, not can you do this, but will you do this?
Mhm. Actually, and I think a better one than this is would you? And again, that
Well,
gives
if
it
I
that
say, would you take out the trash? I mean, I need to know, will he do it? Not would you do it?
I know, but when you take out the trash, he's starting to smell. That's making me feel uncomfortable. Like, tell him why. I understood the trash thing is interesting because everybody's struggling with the trash thing, right? And I
Oh, it's just an
understood.
example.
No, 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 but it's a big one for everybody. Everybody has a problem with why does he take out the trash? It's full, it smells, it's sitting there. Then, why is it up to me to do it? How come he can't see it? Because he can't see it. He's focused on different things, right? So it's part of being a male and single focus. Until it smells really, really bad, he's not going to notice, right?
Yeah.
And even if he was going to push it down to put more stuff in it because it's not time to take the trash in his mind, he's doing something else. He's just right? So I realized for me, what kind of changed everything about the trash that I don't care about. Again, it's shit that I don't care about. I don't care about it. You do because it smells and it's overwhelming, and you don't want to touch it. I understood with my wife when she said, because if I have to take it out, it makes me feel gross. What? What? She goes, it's gross. It's just disgusting for me to grab this damn bag out of this pail and tie it up and the smell and just walk in it. It's gross. It makes me feel disgusting. This is why I'm asking you to do it. I'm like, oh, damn. Well, I don't want that for her. That's my reason. So now I see the thing and I push the thing down, I tie the thing, I throw it. Like I do it just in a way in my head to save her from feeling bad and smelling it and being mad at me for it. But I do it as a service, as a duty. It's like I don't want her to feel disgusting. Like who wants a woman who feels gross? Because she has to do stuff that is gross. I don't think it's gross. It does nothing to me at all. I don't even smell it the way she smells it, right? You guys smell different, you see different, you hear different. All your senses are heightened as women. We all know this. So when you understand that, it's a lot easier to be of service because it makes me feel bad. It smells bad. It looks.
Do you think do you think it has to do with the way that the men were brought up by their mothers? Do you think the mothers played a role in it?
Say it again. Ask me again.
Well, they say that if a mother tends to look after the son and allow him to get away with stuff, that he doesn't clean his room and she's always doing it for him, that he's going to look for someone that can do his things for him instead of do it himself. Is that the parents to blame, or is it just the way men are?
No, it's a what do you call it? It's like born this way or affected this way. There's another word for this. There's wired to. Well, we all have a temperament we're born with, and then life affects us and turns us and kind of changes us, kind of thing. So there's nurture to like nurture or nature, right? That's the one. So nature has men are different, okay, but get this: the nature of men as they grow up in a family system where they actually have a role model as a father, appropriate role model to teach them how to become appropriately males, to use their masculinity in appropriate ways, not too much, but assertive and leaning in and leading and controlling life around them. That's how we survive. But appropriately with a woman, right? Not like a beast, right? So a father, men raise men to be good men. You need that. So we know now that if you remove daddy role modeling, whether he's a bad daddy, an alcoholic daddy, a missing daddy, there's nobody to role model after that's appropriate, right? If daddy's soft or missing, mom becomes mama bear. She has to provide and protect the children. So her nurturing energy, it literally disappears because she collapses into being a male. You see it? That's just nature again. So if mom collapses into being male, right, she can't nurture as a kid, she's still. And it's interesting, when a woman is in man mode, I call it, right, and providing, protecting everything around her in her life and making some money to survive, to put a roof over her head and feed the kids, that's masculine, 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 masculine. But women in man mode are nurturing on steroids, if that makes sense. Because nurturing is actually very masculine, if you understand, right?
Yeah.
Mothering is masculine, nurturing is masculine, it's providing and protecting the children. When there's no daddy for her to be able to soften into being a warm, connecting, nurturing, she goes over the mechanics of being nurturing over the top. All I'm saying here in a nutshell, I'm taking a long way to get there, but young men who have no daddy role model to help them step into their manhood appropriately, right, don't know who they are as far as role modeling. Mother makes them, they over cuddle, mom's over nurtures, over protects like you would a girl, right? Makes his bed and wakes him up in the morning and gives him whatever, like that kind of over nurturing that he never learns to do for himself first. But second is right into puberty, between age 11 and 13, men who have mothers like this that are over nurturing then psychologically believe that women are here to serve them from then on. And these are the guys who want women to, do all the work, provide, protect, right? Make some money. Like they become more feminine. We actually call that being castrated by childhood without a father. They don't know who they are. So, but they're raised by women, so they talk more. They're more emotional. They're less stable because of it, right? They don't know how to lean in and fight for themselves. They're shy. They're awkward. They're girly. They're very girly. They live through their feelings, which is appropriate for women, not for men. And so they can't really even compete in the world out there. and so they look for women who are strong to serve them, to take care of them, to make money, and to become artists a lot of times. So those are the guys who are toxic, by the way. Those are the ones who, it's a lack of masculinity that makes men dangerous, not masculinity in itself. Masculinity will provide, protect everything, everyone, anything that needs help, right?
Yeah.
Masculine protect everyone naturally. Women first, children, and then everything else. So that's our instinct. These guys have no masculine energy. They're irrational, overreactive, not insecure. What's the word? Unstable financially, typically, because they're emotionally unstable. Blah blah. So they talk too much. They're all about their feelings. They tend to be girly, creative, soft. They don't lean in, and they look for women who are boss babes. And women, now get this. This is another terrible, terrible thing. It's nature again. Is that everything in nature is polarized. There's a yin and yang, there's a black and white, there's a masculine and feminine, right? In our culture, when a woman is inside out, I call it, it's called ego dystonic, living through her masculine too much. It's also, again, it's not her fault. It's always a no daddy, right? Mama bear, role modeling, right? Abuse, neglect, uh, abandonment issues. Well, if a little girl doesn't feel safe, she can't grow into her feminine, right? So childhood happens, but when a woman is stuck in her masculine per circumstances in life, nature has it that you only attract the opposite. That's the juice of everything. So the right thing is a masculine man and a feminine woman. Poof, two magnets come together. But the problem is in our culture when we flip the script, soft men and masculine women, poof. Except he's not providing and protecting. He's the girl. He wants you to do all that. As you know, when he does, he encourages you to work harder, get that second job or that promotion when he's on the couch, writing his music, smoking a joint, spooning the dog. That's what they do. And the ones who quite aren't that bad will say stuff like, "It's really hard out there. I try to get a job. My boss is an ass, so I had to quit." And like they talk like they talk like men, but they don't do it. And that's how we recognize them. So what I'm saying to you ladies, which is, if you really get it, is when you're in your masculine, you would only attract feminine men. You'll think that's man, and you're going to hate man. And it's really unfair because the rest of us are nothing like that. So energy and nature, again, always in place. So yeah, that's also the tragedy of single motherhood. It just destroys men and women, boys and girls. It just does. Sometimes it happens, but it's too popular right now, I think.
Well, if you look back over the centuries, a lot of fathers, dads had to go to war, um, go to work long hours, work in the mines, go away from home. So that happened even many years ago.
Absolutely. But what I see, and if I may, I'm sorry. Do you have another question? Because I don't want to interrupt.
No, that I was done.
So the model for millennia is always, we lived in farms, we live in small communities. Do you know what I mean? So the men didn't go away to the city, right? The men were part of the tribe. So the men would do the hunting, the men would do the field plowing, the men would take care of the animals, right? All like farmers, if you're thinking, right, there was a farming kind of community where men did the men work and women did the women work, right? Which means the women, kill the bees, come back, plop it down, and you go, if you don't mind cooking this, we're going to sit by the fire and talk about, how little Johnny lost his arm today. It was hysterical, right? And today we do the same thing, right? He goes out there and fights, brings home the bacon and watches TV, which is the fire back in the days, right? We've literally been doing the same thing for millennia. So I forgot the question now.
No, I was just, you were saying that that the way it's happening now is that women are single mothers and it's the way of the world right now.
Well, it's a big part of what's happening is when divorce is easy, people divorce, and then often somebody else has to pick up the slack. But the kids are the ones that are suffering the most. right? It's always the kids that are suffering because if that's what I was going to say. So back in those days when we were farm people, the fathers will raise the boys on the farm to be and to do all the work that a boy does, to continue the farming and the community and the tribe. The little girls were raised by their mothers to do all the little girl stuff, right? The cooking and the going to the rivers with the women and to tend the fire and to babysit the other, like the community on one side, and then that's how young boys used to be raised with daddy around, and young girls would feel safe with daddy around. So when the industrial revolution kicked in and men went out to the city, no, mom was in the house though, but the whole role modeling for men kind of became soft. And again, my generation is very, very common because men worked 10-hour days, right? And they
Yep.
come home and they're exhausted. They're on the couch. They don't want to talk. They're trying to recharge. They're having a drink, right? Like, so dad is not present all day and is not even present when he's present, right? So a lot of my generation, and this is ongoing, have resented their fathers because obviously he didn't care. He was never there. Well, he
Yep.
was killing himself working and he was exhausted, right? But mom was there, right? Mom was there, and again, this good and bad on some levels, but at least they had that anchor. But what's happening now is dad's at work and mom's at work,
Yep.
and the kids really get put into daycare at 3 months old, 6 months old. It's the worst thing for a child because if they have to bond to feel safe in the world and really grow up to be normal, and a babysitter is not going to do it, right?
No.
A daycare person is not going to do it. These daycare people like rotate all the time. So whoever the kid bonds to at daycare gets replaced once a year, right? This makes very anxious children that they feel no one ever cared for them or claimed them. Mom's gone and dad's gone. So now we have double whammy. So these make very insecure young people that become very insecure teenagers because that's heightened on those years. And that make people who don't trust, they've never been claimed. Their own parents didn't claim them and took care of them. So they can't trust humans. And so they can't build healthy relationships. And that goes into building healthy families to raise healthy children. And the whole thing falls apart. And that's what we're experiencing right now. So away
Yeah.
from traditional, that's a huge price to pay.
So before we go forward, I just want to
Yes.
ask you a question about that workshop.
Yes.
You said you fell off your chair a few times.
Mhm.
What did you learn that you didn't know?
Well, like how the reason that women take everything personal. It was my big one of them.
What is
Like,
that?
get this. I could hurt like that was a huge one for me for my wife. I was very upset that day that I realized that I could hurt. I don't want my wife to be upset. I don't want to hurt her feelings. Like that's the opposite because I want her to be happy because when she's happy, everything's good, right? When she's good, I'm good. When she's happy, I'm happy. Like I completely, we connect directly to you emotionally. When you're good, I'm good. And that's why we provide and protect and pay and cherish to keep you comfortable and feeling good because when you're good, we're good. That's all we want. And you bring us peace and all the comfort that comes with that, right? So I learn because I'm just a breathing male that I constantly hurt my wife's feelings. Well, how's that possible? That's never my intention. Oh, it's because it's what I say. Oh, I can't believe you just said that. Or sometimes what I don't say will hurt her feelings. It's what I do, what I don't do. Right? It's her filter of always looking for, is he really into me, loves and respects me? So if he says he's going to do something and doesn't do it, he obviously doesn't love and respect me. Ouch. Right? So like everything I do that is not the way you like it or you want it or that's would make you feel fuzzy and connected hurts your feelings. So just me being me walking around, being a man, going to work, providing, protecting, without words often, don't have to say much, right? You feel disconnected, you feel left alone, you feel abandoned, and you'll say stuff like, how many times I've heard this, the guy works his ass off, 12-hour days. If you love me more, you spend more time at home with me and the kids. And he loses his mind. Does he want to work 12-hour days? No, but that's his duty, and to keep the family in the lifestyle that he decides is appropriate to throw that in his face, that being a man who does everything a man is supposed to do for his family is a problem. But it happens, right? Because if it's too much distance, you feel disconnected, abandoned, lonely. It makes you feel terrible. He's got to change, right? So to me, that was mind blowing. Like to realize, and then okay, the level 2 in this, there's layers in this. So not only am I hurting her feelings all the time without meaning to, but to a woman, it's so obvious what you just said is hurtful, or the fact that you forgot is hurtful, or the fact that you didn't say this is hurtful. I just got my hair done, you didn't notice. Right? Well, I don't notice that. I do a little bit more because of my temperament, but most guys don't even notice that. They can't, they have to focus on you to, anyway, if you're not focused on her, that means you don't care, right? Because you're focused on us all the time. Oh my God, do you see it? So not only do we hurt your feelings all the time, but to a woman, often it looks like he knows better and he chooses not to because it's so obvious, right? And that means then if he's doing it, knowing he's doing it, that he's doing it on purpose. Now, how long can a woman take that? Because that's what you believe. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing, but that's what it looks like, right? And you get your feelings hurt. So how long can I hurt my wife's feeling till she hates me? That's what upset the hell out of me that day. Like I was freaked out. How do I stop you from getting your feelings hurt, right? And then what we do as men, which totally doesn't work, do not do this, men, but this, we all do it because that's how we do it for ourselves. So obvious to us is, why let that bother you? Why don't you just let it go? It's not important. Just forget about it, right? And then you want to kill him.
So many.
This is why you want to kill us, because now we're basically like making you wrong for having your feelings, which is all you can do is have your feelings because you're a feeling driven person, human being. So when men say, because that's what we do, right? Like if something happens that's bad, I go, ugh, put this here in a box and then go to work because I have to go to work. So we all survive. So we have compartmentalized brains. We'll put everything on the side so we can function. Have you heard women say, like, we broke up. I've been crying for the last month and a half. And look at him. He's having fun playing ball with his friends. He forgot all about me. No. You put it in the box so you can continue life. He works, he has fun, and then at night the box slides out, knocks him in the head, and he's crying. And then there's emotion, right? You don't have that. You don't have that. I wish you did because it's a beautiful design. Just put it away. Right? So we'll do this to you. Forget about it. Let it go. Your mother always makes you mad. Just let it, like, forget it. Let it go.
Yeah, my favorite saying is, "Don't worry about it."
Right? Don't worry about it. That implies that that it's
as if you could just stop worrying about it.
Right. Again, because we're emotional driven humans, and we're not. We see the logic and everything. You go, well, I got it. Don't worry about it. You're like, but I'm feeling so. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? Because this could happen. This could happen. This could happen. Don't you see? And in that, it makes you anxious and nervous and resentful. And we're like, I got it. Don't worry about it. And I don't need to explain it to you again. It's so obvious to me. I got it, right? And this again, we get in trouble because we don't need to talk about it, right? It's
well, I find, yeah, women like to give context, so they'll start off what day it was and who they were with, and they just want you to get to the point.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is why we don't listen.
If I just got to the point, you wouldn't get the context, and then you'd react to the point when you don't understand what the point is actually.
That's not working. That's not how it works. Though that's what the logic is on your side. That's not how it works for us. Get to the point. How many times have you heard me say, "Can you just tell me what you want? Tell me what you need. Tell me how. Just tell me directly. Tell me directly. Tell me now." Well, if I have to tell you, it doesn't count. Like, you know me better by now. Really? That's a girl. So girls on girl, you could do this. You could guess what a girl needs. You're just seeing her face. You go, oh, right? Are you okay? Right? Like so you think we should do this with you because that's a loving thing to do. We're not the same. We're not wired for that. We're looking for danger, not emotions. We don't pick up on that until it's a truck coming at us.
So what is the solution?
Solution for which part?
Well, okay. You mentioned in the beginning I think it might have even been before we started recording, that the way the world is going right now is
Mhm.
that men and women they have a place. Like, and what is that place? Because the way it's working now, it's not working. You
Well,
know,
what's not working is masculinize women, make women afraid of men, make women think men are dangerous. They're creeps. They'll cheat on you anyway. You can't trust them. Well, there it is, right? Like if half the population is the enemy, ladies, how is that going to work? Now that's in a system. That's in a culture. That's the feminist movement gone awry, right? It was in the beginning. It was about choices. You know, you want to stay at home, be a mom, great. If you want to work, here we go, opportunity. That's not what it is any longer. It's anti-male. It's anti everything the men are. So we shame men of being masculine, right? And we hate on them for being males. But you need men to provide and protect. Do you want them? Do you want to feel safe? But he's the enemy. So that's what's happened. So, like, you know, in the culture right now, to vilify men, because men are vilified left and right, and women know better, women are more loving, we're more kinder, women are more aware, women are more intelligent or emotionally intelligent, women, that's all bullshit. It's not more, it's different. But
absolutely.
instead of understanding our differences, we make men wrong.
Could it be like a pendulum swing? You know, if something is out of balance, somebody, like, for example, if you were going to stop smoking,
Yep.
people that smoke, they suddenly become so anti that anybody smokes around them. Oh, that's disgusting. How could you do that? You know, until eventually you kind of reach your center and then it doesn't bother you anymore because you're not
Right.
trying to diss the other person, trying to find yourself.
Or
And would that
distance
not
yourself.
be,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, is that not what we're going through? It's like the opposite reaction to kind of
Yep.
finding themselves.
Yeah, it's gone too far. It's gone too far because I listen. I my assistant is 29 years old here in Los Angeles. 29 years old. She wants a traditional life, 3 kids, right? She can't say that out loud. She cannot say that out loud. They jump on her. Girl,
Why?
you crazy? You better than be some man's slave, and kids will ruin your life. And she can't defend herself on that. She's so feminine. She can't defend herself on that, right? So she can't say it. Because in the culture right now is boss babe is the only thing to be because you can't trust men anyway. So, but then you're going to date men and hoping to find a good one, but really they're all the enemies. That's not working. That's like I said, in my world, the boys we're talking about, right? In my world, there's 4 types of men. There's boys, guys, men, gentlemen. The boys are the ones who don't want to take care of women. They don't want to provide. They don't want to protect. They don't want to raise your kids. They don't want to be responsible. They don't want to pay. Boys, right? Feminized men. No daddy, typically. So these guys you have to avoid at all costs. But if you're stuck in your masculine as a woman, this is what you're gonna bring. Day after day, I have a client who travels the world, and her friends are like, "How come you could go around the entire planet and always come back with a little bitch with a penis, right? But she's manly as hell, and so it doesn't matter where she goes. It's not finding the man; it's where you're attracting. So like a magnet, wherever you are, you'll attract opposite, right? So that's a huge thing to understand. I forgot my point. I was going somewhere. My
Well,
brain
you
is
said there's
visual.
4 types of men.
So boys, guys, men, gentlemen, right? My point is, in our culture right now, we make about a third of the population of males are boys. And the work that I do, with my ladies, is help them identify these guys right away, because the rest of us are good. And these guys give all of us a bad reputation. So women think men are cheaters, men are liars, men are, con men. The boys are, the rest are not. So there's 70% plus of the population that it's the type that you want, but the belief in the culture is they're all bad. They're all boys. And again, if you're masculine, you will confirm that every time you get in, right? So that is a problem, right? That is part of the problem, is energetically what you're attracting, and that becomes your reality. It's just your reality. It's what you're attracting. It's your mindset. It's your belief per your childhood.
Have you heard of the 4B movement?
The 4B movement?
Hmm.
I Well, remind me. I think so, but
Okay,
I'm blanking.
I'll tell you what it's about. So in
Yeah.
South Korea, in 2016, a woman wrote an autobiography about her life, and she had been married off, I think. She was treated like a doormat, told how she can speak and so on, not treated very well. She wrote an autobiography about that, and the B's stand for marriage, children, that kind of stuff, whatever in their language. But all the women in South Korea that read this book, it went viral. And they all said they don't want to be married anymore because of the way they were treated at home.
Sure.
There's domestic violence. It was just bad all around. And so this year is the first year that there's hardly been anybody in first grade because they haven't had children. They're not getting married.
Right, right.
And the men in South Korea are at their wits' end because they're trying to up the game and make women be more, what do you call it? Suppressed. So they're being more dominant and trying to
control them more.
Turning up the heat instead of trying to understand. They're turning it up to say, well, how are we going to get these women to do it? Because they can't force them to get married. They can't force them to have their children.
Right.
And it's become a movement, and that is what has actually spread to the US now. And that is why I hear that a lot. That's why I'm asking you, because that is the response, the knee-jerk response that women are having to men. And that is a society necessarily that is very traditional male. It's not an American society.
I think it's overcalibrated, right? Because again, we in what works naturally is we both, men and women, have masculine and feminine within us.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to give you an example. So look right behind me. My whole life, this is my wife and I ballroom dancing. This is also the metaphors for relationships. What I mean by that is if I'm on a ballroom dance with my wife, which I do, that's how we met, right? I'm the leader, right? This is males. Control and lead everything because that's how we survive, with or without you. Like we learn to do that first. We have to control everything on our circumstances, our lives, our money, right? That's masculine. So leading is normal. Leading in the dance is normal. However, if I'm just a son of a bitch, right, and I have zero sensitivities to me, who's going to want to dance with me?
Yeah.
Right? Because in the world of dancing, I can tell you, I could overlead her. I could crank her shoulder. I could actually hurt her. Right? So I have to lead, yes, which she can respect my leadership if I'm sensitive, if I have some sensitivities about it, that I'm aware of her, not over lead her, right? And actually feel her back so she can respond to me, right? It becomes the dance, right? Yep. So I lead with sensitivities, which then allows her to let go of control, be vulnerable to my leadership, but she's happy to do it because she feels safe. Right? And what happens is she slips into her feminine because now she has to let go completely. She knows that she's good. She knows I'm going to take her on a spin on the dance floor. She knows she's safe. She knows I know what I'm doing. She knows I'm not going to spin into a wall or a table or whatever. Right? She can let go of control completely, which lights her up. Right? It makes her shine and glow. She gets all the glory. I'm doing most of the work. She's doing a lot of the work because she's got to hold herself, obviously, and dance backwards. But I'm leading the dance. I do that work, but no one's looking at me. She gets all the glory, right? Because she beams and everybody's looking at the girl, not the guy. So the dance is this, right? The relationship is this. Leadership with appropriate sensitivities. That's a normal male. That's what good men teach their sons, by the way, right? What you're talking about in Korea is dictatorship.
Correct.
Dictatorship to women, to culture, it's in their culture, by the way, right? A lot of cultures have that modeling where men are men and women need to shut up and get behind them. But that's not what makes women want babies with men, right? So that's culturally, that's where the wheels come off. The bunch of jerks, oppressing women and putting them underneath them as opposed to next to them. So on the other side, like I said, my wife gets to be gloriously feminine when I'm dancing with her because she trusts and she's able to let go of control and be vulnerable to my leadership. It's good for her. It's good for me. That's a dance, right? So these countries and these cultures are dictatorships. That doesn't work. We want a democracy and be able to negotiate it.
Yeah. Well, I think that is what the what the problem is that women are facing is if they're in a relationship and they have a man saying, we're in charge without having the sensitivities.
That's a problem. That is a problem. But
Yeah.
part of it that I see, it's not that often we don't speak the same and we don't like so we're so different in so many ways that we kind of miss the boat on each other, thinking the other one's misbehaving, right? So if you understand that, every time you're trying to lead a man, he's going to respond to it as disrespectful. That's how you bring out the worst in man. And then now he's loud, now he's controlling, now he tells you to stop. Well, what a jerk, right? But he felt disrespected. So how do we, love and respect are the things that we all want. We both want love and respect, to be loved and cherished, to be loved and cherished. We both want both. When you ask people, they want both, right? However, get this: if you don't respect a man, he can't love you. The same way that if you don't love a woman, she can't respect him. Do you know what I mean? So we need both, but they come backwards. So in a culture where men aren't loving towards women, women can't respect them, follow their leads, able to let go and be vulnerable to a man who's got it together really well and aware of her, sensitive to her needs. Because all a woman has to say, if a man is in love with a woman, all it wants to say is like, thank you for that. It's a little too much. Could you maybe think of it differently? Don't even tell him. Just ask him to do differently. Well, why? Again, he needs to know why. Well, when you do this, it makes you feel like this. I don't like it. Right? If you could do it a different way. Right? Again, pull out his instinct to provide, to be the hero. I don't understand. When you do this, it makes you feel like this. I don't like it. Would you look into it? And maybe, again, by the way, this is how you ask for more time, intimacy, and change, right? Like, I thank you for all that you do, right? Make an appointment, right? Do you have a minute? When's a good time, right? Then you go, thank you for all this. You work so hard. Thank you for taking care of us, right? To respect him first, so he actually can continue listen to you, and go. But like, you're working so much that we are missing out on time together. Me and the kids are missing you, and it makes you feel abandoned. It makes you feel whatever, filling the blank with your feelings as a woman. Great. Thank you for all you do. And this is how I'm feeling. This is why I don't like. This is,
Mm-hmm.
if you could look into it, please, babe. The kids and I would really love for you to spend more time with us. That's an invitation, respectful, and not making him wrong, right?
Yep.
And the guy who loves you is gonna look into that, fix it. Some like that's because that's what, if she's happy, he's happy. If she's unhappy, he's unhappy. He's in the garage. You know what I mean? So it's all these little things that we don't understand that we trigger in each other. That women think that we're jerks, and we think you're crazy. Just saying.
Here's a book
Sorry.
called Why Women Can't Read Maps and Why Men Don't Listen.
Yep.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It explains that our anthropologies and our cavewoman mechanism, hunter gatherer, two different brains, two different chemistry of the brain, driven by different needs, right? Motivated by different things, process feelings in different ways. Like, we're completely different. We're completely different. We're not the same. So to expect a man to act like a girl and a girl to act like a man is stupid. So it's the complementary that works. So lastly, I'm going to say this, like, it's a little
Mhm.
bit crass, but we talk about equality in this a bit. No, there's no equality between men and women. We're as equal as our genitals. Completely in opposition, but made to fit, right? So temperamentally, we're the same. We're completely opposite and made to fit. What I bring to my wife is a part that she doesn't have, and vice versa. What she brings to my life is a part that I don't have. Often sensitivities. Hey, babe, you're scaring the kids. If you could tone down a bit. What do you mean? You're scaring the children, babe. Please. It's just. Oh, okay, all right, right. So you have the power to bestialize us, if that's the right word. Like, we're kind of beasts because of testosterone naturally. How do you bring us a little bit down, right? That's the invitation. That's the feminine. We need you for that, and you need us to make you feel safe. That means I got it. I got
Have
it.
you work with couples now, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you experienced a couple that is like the man in his feminine and the woman in her
Oh
masculine
yeah.
that they've changed? Has there been a significant shift and what did they do?
Well, like I said, they have to become aware of this, right? It often creeps in over the years. Get this, when it's very, very, very common actually, and but again, nobody is aware of this, that a feminine woman who's feminine at her nature, at her core, right? I've seen it happen with my wife. My wife is lovely and feminine, right? But the moment he had a kid, Mama Bear came in. Instinct, right? The moment the kid was born, boom, my lovely wife is out the door because now we have provided protector, over stressed, over focused, over what if, and everything has to be clean, everything has to be still, it's made to safe, all the outlets have to be taken care of. There's dust in the house. Oh my God, this is a terrible place to live for a child. Oh, the floor, we can't put them on the floor, right? So, Mama Bear, right? So, a lot of men lose their wives in Mama Bear. And Mama Bear controls everything, protects the kid over the top, and often it becomes a second thought. Now, that's normal, and it should last 2 to 2.5 years. When the kid's about 3 and they become more autonomous, right? There's a pulling back a little bit that would be normal, but a lot of women get stuck in Mama Bear. He pushes back for the first couple of years, but he continues. So 3 years he's back, 4 years he's back, right? And all of a sudden he can't really. I've been with them all day long. Don't tell me when to put to bed. Okay, right? I think the kids are hungry. Really? How do you know? You okay, okay. All right. So just out of circumstances, having a child, women will go into mama bear mode, but some don't recover. And what happened is men learn to take the back seat, and now she ends up controlling absolutely everything, which is overwhelming, stressful, right? But at the same time, he doesn't know how to do it. He won't do it right, so I'm not going to ask. You see how it happens? So women will say, and we know we're in trouble. And again, it's not necessarily from the beginning. It's often children will bring that forth. Mechanism, it's nature, it's instinct. But women will say to me, I know they're in trouble, and say, I don't have 2 kids, I have 3 kids. He's the third one. That's how you man up so hard that he literally is one of the kids and he has zero say. You know everything, you do everything, now you resent it. It's very creepy. I mean, in the sense that it creeps in, right? So again, my couples, when they come at me with their inside out, how do we get here? Was he born that way? Were you a man the whole time? No, we used to be so. I'm like, okay, when did this start? With the kids. How do we go back? And this is the work that we do. Right? Now, if it's a trauma, which means the woman was masculine, married a soft man, right? There's not a whole lot to do with that. You can feel this fix a trauma, and I can, except that person is going to go. Because a woman who's traumatized, it can't be feminine or can't control, let go of control, has to control everything. We'll end up with a soft man, right? A feminine man. If she tries to go back into her feminine, he will resent it because she's supposed to do everything. So his inability to want to step up with her ability to want to step down destroys that relationship. Where if they're originally in the right positions and got disposition, we can bring it back. It's all
Yeah, that
very
makes sense.
beautifully logical and easy to do, by the way. It's actually very easy. All of it is pretty easy to do. You just have to know what's happening, why, and understanding each other's instincts so you can work with them as opposed to against them. How about bring the best out of each other instead of bringing the worst out of each other because you don't know? That's what we do. We bring out the worst because we don't know. What's he thinking? Why is he doing that? Why is she taking everything personally? Like, we don't know. So we do this as opposed to. But again, it's easy to learn. It's so easy to learn. There's a lot of details. It takes a minute to wrangle it, but when you get it, man, right? My clients will say to me, "Oh my God, it's so much easier than I ever imagined. All I have to do is da 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 da, and there he is. And all I have to do is tell him how I feel, and he wants to fix it. And all I have to do is I don't really feel like doing that. He does it, right? Like it's this, like we ignited the hero in her man." And it's like she could lean back, she could be vulnerable, she could have the space, she could actually not burn herself out doing everything because she doesn't want to ask because he won't do it in her time frame. Let go of that. Let go of that. Let go of that. and understand how to bring men forth who want to provide, protect, cherish, give, support, lead everything in this life, you and the children and the kingdom. Understand nature, right? And everything
Yep.
else in between is negotiable because there's stuff, like I said, we both have masculine and feminine. There's things that my wife does that would be considered more masculine, and there's things that I do that may be considered more feminine, but as a rule, we're polarized. And
Yeah.
that's how we keep it going. I could do this all day long. Can you tell? There's so much to understand. There's so much to learn. And again, it's really not knowing that messes everybody up.
Of
And
course.
role reversal, which is in our culture, will make all that impossible.
So I know I told you I like TikTok as my go-to for
Yep,
news, but
yep,
they
yep,
did a survey, and I don't know how accurate it is, but they
yep.
interviewed some Russian men. And Russian men say women should stay at home, they're the providers. But when they
Right.
interviewed American men, they said the woman needs to work and she needs to contribute 50%. Is that true? Or is that an accurate representation? Or was that
Well,
just a video?
no, there's a lot of that going on here because we shame men out of being masculine, and now men are also convinced that 50-50 is the right way to do it. We don't want to take power for women. They don't want to like be misogynistic, right? Like don't want to like take away from her. So you go girl, boss babe, 50-50 everything, which women hate. But the guys actually believe it's in the culture here everywhere. They raise them that way, shamed out of being masculine. Don't lean on women. Don't tell her what to do. Don't even try that, right? You just be quiet
So
and be a
is
nice
that
guy.
the women's fault?
Well, it's the culture's fault. It's been pushed in the culture on both sides. Go girl on one side and just you know, you're dangerous and not to be trusted, so be quiet.
So how do we get around that to start creating a mutual respect, firstly,
Yeah.
so that there can be love?
Well, one of my favorite things to do and explain to couples and people, I have a lot of single women who strong, independent, powerful, who are like 30 plus years old. They have money, they have career, they have cars, they have everything. How come nobody wants to date me? Too masculine, right? Masculine men don't want masculine women. Masculine men are looking for soft feminine, right? So the women who are feminine naturally, they're out there getting married off like this. By the age of 26, they're done, they're gone, off the market, right? But if you stay masculine, men aren't interested in that. Men aren't interested in that. Like they don't want it, right? So feminine men do, but a masculine man. So understanding really nature, going back to nature, if a woman lines up with the nature more, it doesn't mean that you don't work, it's you work less, right? The good news about having a relationship is he'll take on the brunt of the shitty work out in the world, right? And typically the woman will take on the brunt of the inside work more because that's the whole, your house is your nest. It's a lot more important to you, all the details of that, than it is to us, right? If the laundry is sitting out, it disturbs you. The dishes disturb you. The dust disturbs you. The pillow's crooked, right? You see everything that's wrong, makes you crazy in the house. We don't have any of that. So we're better out there. We come home, we don't care, right? Unless the house stinks, I don't really care about the laundry and the dishes. You know what I mean? But for you, it makes you crazy, right? It makes you crazy. So your environment affects you much more than it affects us. Home for us is I go through the door and this is where I rest and recover so I can do the next day. That's our testosterone building mechanism, right? We have to do good to feel good. For you ladies, you have to feel good to do good. So again, let's go back to what's a little bit more traditional. Doesn't mean you don't get to do anything. My wife, right? My wife, perfect life. I work like a dog. I do this kind of work, right? She's a ballerina. She teaches at two colleges, right? Part time. So she gets to live her passion and mission. She's been dancing since she was 6 years old. She's never stopped doing that, right? So our marriage did not stop her career, right? She continued. She teaches at colleges. She gets all the benefits. She works part time. She gets to mentor these dancers, boys and girls. She gets to be nurturing in that as a woman, right? I think that keeps her more feminine and more loving and more kind and more all in lines up with her essence of being a woman who does good in the world, right? So she lives her mission and passion, but part time. The other part time is us, the family, the kids, right? So she could pick up the kids when they were little at 3 p.m. It's from school because I'm at work. You know what I mean? So she could actually do this, and I come home at 7 p.m. at night. And one of my favorite memories is, in the summer, sun goes down much later. So at 7 p.m. it's still very light, right? So pull up in my garage, right? Turn off the car and go, huh? And I could hear them as I opened the door. I could hear them play in the pool. I did that. I did that. There's a huge pride in that, right? I provided that as a man, right? She provides the nurturing part. She's there. She picks up the kids at 3. She help gives them a snack, do the homework, and now they're in the pool. They've been in the pool for hours waiting for me. You know what I mean? Then I join in, but like to see that's good for me and it's good for her and them. There's traditional stuff, but is she useless? Is she not? No, no. She has a balanced life of both masculine and feminine. My masculine life is out there in the world. I'm more of a daddy energy at home. That's the yin yang again. We all have both, right? So understanding this as opposed to make each other wrong. So let's just wrangle about women. It's funny. Women who are boss based will come at me with, "I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. I don't want to work anymore. I'm tired. I can't sleep. I'm exhausted. I do everything by myself. I don't want it anymore. I'm sick of it." Right? Right? And they go, "Yes. So now you're 35 years old. It's time for a man. After 35 years, I don't need no man. It's in the culture, right? So now you're sick of it. So guess you, I want to say this is we can go against nature all we want. Eventually, it bites you in the ass. And a lot of women wake up to the fact that they don't want to work. Money doesn't make them happy. Career doesn't make them happy. Relationships around them. A woman's happiness is based on all the relationships in her life with her loved ones, with her family, with her children, she does, with her husband, she does, but with her friends, right? It's the quality of the relationships around her that makes her one happy. Not career, not money, not swag, right? Not power. It doesn't. Because even, like I guess it's a male's paradigm because we have the testosterone to do this with, right? Testosterone is jet fuel for competing and fighting. You don't have the testosterone we have. You end up driving your bodies on adrenaline, which burns you out physically. Women get, all kinds of diseases at the age of 40 plus if they're been in man mode on adrenaline for 20 to 30 years. We now know that adrenaline in your bloodstreams is like battery acid in for your organs, right? So that lifestyle of boss babe is very dangerous on your health in the second part of life. You think that's important to talk about? This is the price to pay to go against nature. Now, again, I don't say be a doormat, pop some babies, barefoot and pregnant. Damn it, that's never what I say. But like my wife, there's an in between where she could be useful, purposeful, completely on point, living the life that she wants, the part that she wants to contribute. It could be anything, and still have the personal life to keep her calm, rested, not so competing all the time, right? Because and it's interesting because now she's so aware of this. We've been doing this for years that when she has to work more because they have like different contracts at different seasons, and there's concert seasons they do. So sometimes she works double the regular workload. She hates it because she's not present when she's here. She's exhausted. She can't be with us. She's the Velcro to her family, and she's very aware that that shit, even though it's part of her job, and sometimes she has to step in more, doesn't help her. It's not worth the money. It's not worth the energy spent. It's not worth the exhaustion. It's not worth falling asleep at 8 o'clock at night. It's not worth it. But she's very aware of that, right? So she's always like in a rebalancing of her femininity, her energy by pulling back, and when in doubt, asking me.
What about women, for example, that are single, that do have to be the breadwinners?
Yep.
So they're in
Yeah.
their masculine. What do? They can't just say, okay, I'm not going to work. I'm going to find a guy who's going to do it for me.
Well, it's not really that, right? There's a kind of thing. What I notice is, the women who are really stuck in their masculine are kind of, again, tilted. Too much masculinity, not enough femininity. You understand if a woman isn't feminine, right? When you're in man mode, you completely disappear from our radar. Men don't see you. You're like just a ice cube, right? Because that's the only thing that we see is feminine warmth, and it stops us in our tracks. It makes us go, oh, wow, oh, look at her, right? That we need that. Otherwise, if you're one of us in your head, by the way, being feminine is to be in your body, being masculine is to be in your head. We're always in our head. So if you're in your head, I'm in my head, you disappear. You can be pretty, you can have a short skirt on, I'll notice a skirt and move on. Like you're Ice Cube, right? So that's a big problem. So single women who have this whole machine in place, you know what I mean? You have to recalibrate your femininity. So we have this in place. We don't undo who you are. That's obscene, right? You don't get rid of everything you build. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, when you bring this back up, right? And what happens? Like my wife don't want to work so hard. Let it go. It's not important. I want this part more, right? So there's a kind of teetering all the time. In my world, a true boss, a true badass chick, woman, is a woman who's go girl, boss babe, right? I'm going to be crass now. And at the end of the day, leave your balls at work and show up in the world like a woman, right? Learn to change your energy, learn to recalibrate into your feminine. And it's very hard to do if you're not conscious about it. You do one or the other. Men do the same thing. So this doesn't work for women, too much masculine. This, too much feminine on men doesn't work. We have to do this. And then come together on some level where there's polarity. So we're single women who are stuck in their masculine, it's just a matter of, again, recalibrating their feminine and watching their lives change and their choices naturally want to change. Just like my
Yeah, that
wife.
makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
kind of beautiful. It's really simple. It's simple. You have to know what's happening and why. I'm just saying.
Well, like you said, I think the key word is to be conscious of.
Which is most of us are not. You think those
Yeah.
Korean guys are conscious?
No, they're just in their own minds.
That's what I'm
They're
saying.
not aware of what they're
And
even doing.
that's the unconscious of their culture. And like I said,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. This works. This works.
You you've had the opportunity to work worldwide. Have you seen
Yes.
any cultures that do have something that really works?
Well, it's interesting because it's very interesting because in Europe, women could be lawyers and doctors and all that, but not at the cost of their femininity. Explain that to me. Here we go 100% the other way. One goes against the other. Not over there. Women over there are still they love to dress up, right? If you go to French fashion, it's crazy, right? Like my kids went to French school because I speak French, so I put them in French school in elementary school. So and they were all European French going to the school locally in Los Angeles. And 7:30 in the morning, dropping off kids at school. These women are put together. Let me tell you, they don't walk around in sweatpants and flip flops, right? They're not fancy dressed, but you know, everything is thoughtful. Everything, the hair is done, the makeup's done. They're wearing an appropriate pair of jeans, always a shoe, some kind of shoe or boot, right? They're dressed casually, but well put together. They won't leave the house not well put together. All thin. They're all thin, right? But that doesn't. So they're feminine first, and they could go be a doctor and a lawyer, but they're feminine first. They love men to open doors and to treat them like with kindness, right? They love that. They want men to be gentlemanly. They want to be treated like ladies, even though they could be, right? So
Yeah.
here, I'm gonna tell you a story that happened to me directly. I like to be a gentleman. I want to get a big smile and thank you everywhere I can, especially from a woman. I don't care about men. Men don't care about men. We care about women. Right? We want to help women. We want to get a thank you from a woman, not guys. We don't care about guys. Right? So I'm going to the bank. I'm walking to the bank. I'm crossing the parking lot, and the glass doors become a mirror. Right? So I can see as I'm approaching the door, there's a lady behind me about 20 feet. She's not close. She's far. She's on the other side of the parking lot. A little bit older. So I'm a great opportunity to be a man. So I grab the door, I open it, and I look at her. Right? I'm holding the door for her. So as she's crossing the parking lot, she sees me, looks instantly down, walks up to the door, grabs the other door, and opens it. She might as well have flipped me off. So I instantly went, hello, and she just kept walking, right? That's the American woman.
Wow.
So, like, chivalry's been killed by don't need no man, right? This is the belief here. Don't need no man. Europeans don't do that. Italian women
No.
don't do this, right? They can be feminine and be capable. They don't mix the two. They don't prioritize being manly and tough and controlling first. They want to be girls, and they could still work like they need to. So culturally, so here it's stupid. It's actually stupid. That's why I'm busy, because nobody gets it, and everybody's suffering. So, and they
Yeah.
come at me with, my favorite is they come at me with, I saw what you did to my friend Susan. Like, she's complete. Oh my God. And all of a sudden, like, men are paying attention to her, and she's dating like crazy. Like she's a different girl. I'm like, thank you. She goes, I want some of that. What'd you do to her? Step into the program. Again, it's not hard to learn, and it takes some practicing slowly, right? It takes a few months. But is it worth it? I mean, what else do you have to do all day? If you want to be happy and you want a relationship, let's go. Come and learn, right? If you don't, you don't. That's fine. If you want to stay a boss, that's fine. But the women who come to me are like, I don't like this. I'm tired of this. This doesn't work for me. I'd like to have companionship and somebody to help. I'm like, I get it. That's what men are built for.
Yeah.
You have to recalibrate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Simple. It's really simple. Anyway, thank you for letting me vent and kind of put it out there. But that's literally my work. It's just decoding instinct and nature. Like I have the owner's manual for men, ladies, and men have the owner's manual for the ladies. Because when you
Nice.
learn to bring out the best out of each other, everything works. And that has to be, you have to understand instinct, chemistry of our bodies, right? So when you work with people's instinct, the other one flourishes right back at you. And without having to negotiate anything too hard, right? You bring out the best out of him. You bring out the best out of her. That's a good deal.
Well, I know if people see each other holographically. If you change on the inside, they have no choice but to respond differently to you because you're a different
Absolutely.
person.
Everything's energy. Everything's energy. So when you switch your energy from masculine to feminine as a woman, the world around you changes completely. I mean,
Yeah.
completely. My clients every time, because I'll pitch them like this, right? Like if you do this, like you'll notice like the world around you will change. It's not because the world changed, because you changed, and you'll be energetically magnetic, radiant, right? Per these exercises or whatever. And they go, really? That seems so, right? And sure enough, right? Like within a couple of weeks of like opening up those channels and stepping back into their bodies out of their heads with practice, men smile and say hi. Women are nicer to them, the cashier, the women at work. Babies are smiling and dogs come a sniffing. A magnet. The magnet of everything you want is to be in your feminine. Like the world around you treats you differently.
Could you give our viewers a tip like that, or one or two tips on what they could do immediately just to start stepping into their feminine?
Well, again, to be feminine is to be in your body, to feel good, to be present, to look people in the eyes and to smile. Do this to any man, right? Don't look on your phone. Don't put your nose down. Don't zoom across the room because you're on a mission to whatever, right? Slow the whole thing down, right? And I say even put your attention on your hips when you walk. It's a whole thing that I teach about body language that actually de-ices women out of their heads just by using their bodies, moving slowly and actually using your hips, the way you walk, the way you stand, the way you sit, changes your vibe. Just like in your body. Beautiful. And men respond instantly, and so do women. Right? So that kind of approach of understanding what femininity is and how it actually rules the world, it's not weak and passive, it's your superpower. And watch men respond to it. Like so just being present, looking in the eyes and smiling will change the person, especially men. You change his mood. You can make his day by a smile and a look of
You know,
kindness.
I years ago I was dancing at a club and I went slow motion. You just brought up something which was very interesting. We were dancing slow motion, like really slow. And within 5 minutes, we had a group of people around us. It was amazing. I've never experienced that in my life. Because I think the
Yeah,
more people start going frantically, the more others like move away. And
absolutely.
this actually pulled them in. It was I've never seen anything like it, and it was just natural. I don't know. I don't even know what happened there, but that was I've never had that happen since.
That's what I just explained, though. That's exactly what
Yeah,
it is,
exactly
right?
that.
If you get out of frenzy and anxiety and stress and overwhelm and get
Yeah,
yourself body center is, as a woman, whatever feels good. That feels
yeah,
good, right? The moment you can catch your breath and get into your body, whoop, lights on. I tell you
yeah.
a cute story. My wife and my daughter were at the store. They were like a candle store. They had candles and stuff to write in journals and stuff like. But a whole wall of candles, scented candles, right? And of course, the two girls, and they're lovely, right? They're feminine, and so the girls are picking up candles off the wall, going, "Oh my God, oh, I smell that! Oh, ooh, ah, oh, ooh, ah!" Like this is what it does to men. Do you have any idea what that does to us? That ooey kind of woo, right? Like so cooing kind of energy, right? A piece of chocolate that makes you go, "Oh." I buy my wife chocolate just for that, just to have her kind of, oh. You know what I mean? It's like crazy shit, and I get kisses, so I get the reward for making her do what works for me. Interesting, eh? So they're spending candles, spending candles, spending candles. They buy something. They're at the cashier. There's this older gentleman that says to my wife as the cashier goes, "Here, here's this is the one you both like the most." He bought them the candle. So basically, he watched there. He watched him coo and ooh and ah, completely made his day, so much so that he was compelled, because they didn't grab it, to go get it, pay for it, then wait for them at the cashier and go, "This is the one you both like the most. Thank you for being
That's
lovely."
great.
And she's like, I'm like, I says, "Was he creepy? Was he coming?" She goes, "Not at all. He was just enchanted. He just like wanted us to have the candle." And I'm all, "That's a man. I don't have to worry about that guy, right?" And he's the same guy that would probably protect them to the parking lot, right? If she asked. Like, nature instinct is quite
Would that
beautiful.
be would that be a gentleman
That would
of
be a
your 40?
gentleman. That would be a
Okay.
gentleman. Because men do everything right, except they're often too rough. Where a gentleman is an upgrade of actually being a little more sensitivities and awareness around, especially with the ladies, but also the ones who are kinder to the kids and want to mentor the young man. You know what you should do. Let me tell you what you need to do. Right? Those are gentlemen just compelled to help, compelled to direct, compelled to bring value, compel. Right? Like so. So they're at a different level of awareness and kindness and want to spill that on the world. Women first.
I have that.
It's fantastic. It's
Well,
so, and again, it's nothing you have to manipulate. You just have to know how it works and bring it out of them. Seriously.
yeah. Well, I know I grew up in South Africa, and I know the black women in South Africa,
Hmm.
they can swag, they can walk, and the men just love them. And it's
Yeah,
not about weight. It's not
not
about
at all.
what you look like.
Not at all. No. So I told you I teach part of the program is learning to walk, stand, sit like a woman. It's crazy that I have to teach this to women, but I know what it feels like to receive that, to see that, right? One of my clients is a big girl, short and big, right? So was a client only attracting boys. She was molested, bad childhood, right? Men were dangerous, so she was always shielded. But at 46, I think she joined me. She's like, didn't want to be lonely anymore and had done a lot of personal trauma release work. And she just thought, I could give this another try. Anyway, so she finds me, da da da. And by the way, I also, I have to show off now. I also officiate weddings, and I did because some of my clients, I married them myself. So that was her and her husband in Texas. I went to Texas last March to marry them, and 1 month before I was in Vegas doing another couple. My point is, this big girl, right? Part of her magic with him, who went on one knee, right? When they were dating, I taught her how to walk. And again, it's not because she's skinny and she's got a, you know what I mean? She's none of that. But the walk, we call it the walk. She does it to this day. She goes, when I'm feeling stressed out, I just do the walk. I do the walk and it gets me all grounded. And all of a sudden, gentlemen open doors for me. I didn't even Pay attention, right? Like just get her grounded, right? It gets her grounded. So much so that her husband delights in it, right? And she says often, like he did to me last week, she's like, I'm at the store walking, and he's far away from me and flips up his phone. She goes, what are you doing? He goes, do the walk. Just do the walk. And you'll film her doing the walk coming at him. That's how magical it is. And he doesn't know anything but the fact that when she does that, her energy changes and he loves it. The same thing with you moving slower on stage, right? Like it's like there's just a opening up of energy coming from you when you get into your bodies and you slow the hell down. So another way that I tell my ladies from the beginning, slow it all the hell down. Your brain first, get your body grounded, do whatever it is that feels good, little bits and the big one, all of them daily to get yourself in your body and watch what happens. Watch what happens. It's crazy. Instantly, people will respond to you differently, right? Get yourself out of your head. You'll feel better and the world will treat you better just because.
And everything's in alignment. So it's not actually working less. It's just being more present.
That's it. That's it. But in that, you'll find yourself slowing it down. Like slow it all down as opposed to what else in the frenzy of life, because life can be a frenzy nowadays because women provide for themselves a lot. It's
Yeah.
hard to get grounded when you're in that frenzy, and that's really why men disappear because they don't see you when you're in a frenzy. You disappear. You could be a
Amazing.
beautiful woman, you're invisible in that space. I don't like it. It's actually when there's tension in the air because you tense, it makes us go away. Like we'll leave the room, the space. It's crazy. We're so plugged into you that way. That's the same thing you said when on stage you slow it down, shh, they came in. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's all energy.
But that was men and women watching. It was
Yeah,
incredible.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Women will respond to that. You're so lovely today. A woman who never talked to you at the cashier will go, how's your day today? Because you're right there present and sort of she could feel you, loveliness. It's lovely for her too, right? Because people are crabby, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
stay in your head, see what happens. Nothing good for most women. It's both beautiful and
Andre,
sad.
that was an awesome conversation. Where can
Thank
people
you.
get hold of you?
Okay, so I actually have two gifts for you listeners, if you don't mind as well. So my
Absolutely.
my website is projectequinox.net. The equinox is the perfect balance between day and night, masculine and feminine. I thought it was clever, right?
Yep.
So Project Equinox with Andre Paradis. I'm on all the platforms under either Project Equinox or Andre Paradis. Just Google me. But we talked about this. Like I do a lot of podcasts because I'm trying to spread hope into the world. There is a way to do this, ladies. There's a way to do this, man. It's not hopeless. We have to rethink the culture's teachings, and the tidal wave of the culture with men are toxic and you can't trust them. And if you're not a boss babe, you're useless. That's that's over calibration on both sides. But so my God mission is to teach this to the masses. So thank you for helping me spread the word. But as I do podcasts, I do 3 or 4 a week. I notice there's two types of listeners. So I'm going to give you my gifts, and the listeners can qualify themselves for one or the other. So some people come to a podcast or events with the I don't know what's going on here, but this is not working. I'm not sure what's this feminine thing all about, right? Women, what's this feminine thing all about? Like I'm a girl, right? But so I call it information seekers. So if you're an information seeker, which means you're starting to buzz around this work and are curious, right? If you want information, I'm going to send you directly to my email. It's Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail. AndreCoaching, number one at Gmail. And in the subject box, just write Irresistible Book, and it will send you a copy of. It's a book that I wrote. It's a workbook. There's stuff for you to fill out, ladies. It's called The 5 Feminine Qualities High Value Men Find Absolutely Irresistible. This is this is the work that I do. This is men speaking. This is my man working with men. It's what men say they find irresistible. Not me, man, right? And it has nothing to do with your butt or your hair color or your appearance. It's qualities that emanates from you that they adore. So I sell this on my website. Send it Andre Coaching One, Irresistible Book, and I'll get it to you guys for free over the computer. information seekers. The second type listeners, I call them the action takers, right? Somebody who's been confused with all this stuff, been looking, have done the books and the workshops and the podcasts and trying to understand these things. And it's all conceptually kind of makes sense, but it doesn't change their lives, right? And they realize, maybe this guy gets it, right? So if you resonated with anything I said, and you want to dig in, right? If you're an action taker, it takes a little courage, but not really. I'm just this guy, right? Andre Coaching One, in the subject box, just write "talk now." I'll send you a link to my calendar. You'll find this place a space that's open, and we'll have an hour or so conversation about what you're struggling with, right? What you're struggling with, because again, we're a product. We're all are a product of our childhood, right? So it's the decision that we made as 5, 6 year old about the world, ourselves, life, and people that has us stuck in a mode, right? That we then go and prove to the rest of the world. If you don't feel safe as a little girl, you'll never be able to feel safe with men, right? Like if you feel you're not worthy of love, you will attract men that will show you that you're not worthy of love. You show women who will show you the same, right? So whatever is stuck in your head that you totally forgot about is actually what's driving you. So in 15 minutes on that call, we go right to where the wheels came off as a child. We all have them, right? But to understand that you're not broken, that it's just your circumstances, liberating. So if you're not permanently broken, that you're just a product of that, we could fix it. That's what I do with the trauma release work. We release that stuff. Who are you? What do you want? What does that look like? Let's think of the future. Companionship, families, kids, whatever. You don't have to want marriage, but women want companionship to feel safe, right? This is a better life. So we need to be there and help and support. So, and then we'll talk about if you want to pull the trigger, there's different ways to work with me, small, medium, large. So, but it's that call alone, whether we work together or not, for some people, it changes their lives because they're not broken. They get it. So, those are my offers. Again, Andre Coaching One, Talk Now, Irresistible book. You could ask for both. I don't care. You could write to me, right, as well. Just write me. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me I'm full of crap. I'm not. I could back everything up that I'm talking about. But come at me. This is my world mission. I need to touch as many souls as possible.
Love that. I'll post all your links below, and
Thank you.
yeah, they'll be able to access. Do
Thank
you
you.
have a message for the viewers that can kind of sum up what you've been saying?
Yes. So I am the guy who's sounding the alarm, is what it is, right? You don't want to be a client of mine at 50 because you missed the boat, because you have children, you don't have children, and you're single and lonely and don't understand anything. You don't want to be that. Right? So I'm trying to sound the alarm, and I'm saying to both men and women, be careful what you buy that is the cultural normal that will destroy the second half of your life. Because what nobody's thinking about a second part of life, right? It's all in our 20s and 30s, the conquering of whatever. We don't think, because if you don't have children and unable to attach secure, create secure attachments with somebody else, we naturally need to pair bond to be good in life. This is instinct. You can fight it all you want, but you're not going to run away from it. It will catch up to you eventually. So I'm saying, I'm sounding the alarm. Pay attention. What is it you want? You want to be boss? Go girl. It'll cost you later. I promise you one way or the other if you go too far with it, for sure. And I give you example of that. However, how about, second, rethinking, what is it? Do you want to be a traditional woman, like my assistant, right? She wants traditional woman, right? Do it. Forget the culture. Forget your mother who made terrible choices and tell you men are dangerous, like your father, right? Like that happens a lot. Women will scare their own children and their daughters into. Anyway, and so your teachers will tell you the same thing, right? The culture, your girlfriend, stop. What is it that you want? You want to be a mom? You want children? Go find yourself a good guy who will make that much easier, right? So forget the culture is my message. Try to forget. It's hard to do because it's a tidal wave. But as men, there are women who there are traditional women out there who want to build families and marriages and kingdom with their man, right? They're kings out there looking for their queens. Factual. Most of the men I know, like I said, 70% of them are traditional and they want families and kids. So again, let's work with this. So watch what you buy into. Men are not toxic or dangerous. They're not creeps. They're not liars and cheaters. The boys are. The rest of them aren't. So come and learn that part so you could actually find one or know what to avoid. And for the ladies, right, again, to understand the true nature of man and the true nature of a woman on the other side, what works more in tandem with nature that's more traditional, watch what you buy into. Forget the fear, forget what people are trying to scare you with, and stop protecting yourself before it's too late. Because that happens a lot. It's too late. And there's a lot of data on this. Oh, so there. Oh, yeah, you really got me going. You really got me going.
Well, that's okay.
That's okay.
The older you get, the more stuck in your ways you get. I mean,
Period.
it would work both ways. Surely a woman
Absolutely.
would want to find a man who's older and more stuck in his ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, but one thing interesting about this, again, more biology stuff is I think is fascinating, is that typically a younger woman wants to be attached to men. Do you know what I mean? The classical way is that the teenage 16-year-old girl who's been protected by a father wants to marry a man who will protect her in life. That's instinctual, right? That's always been. So, and for men, young men, there's another coach that said it beautifully. It made me laugh. I'm stealing it. Said, men, young men, which is before andropause, is the same as andropause is the male version of menopause, right? It starts at about 45. So younger men before andropause want to be with women who would leave them alone. But you know what I mean by that, right? It sounds ridiculous, but you know what I'm saying? Like, don't push me around, don't control me, don't try to get on top of me, don't be my mother, don't try to correct me or change me. Like, just leave me alone. I love you. Let me do my shit, right? So younger men are looking for women who will leave them alone, as in, like, let me be me, and that's gonna work out fine, right? But get this. So my clients that are older have this thing where I'm older now, and the men don't want old women; they want younger women. Yes, to a point, but get this. Are you ready? On the other side of menopause, women are naturally more masculine because their estrogen is released, so they're more logical. That's how they become cougars. They can have sex without bonding. Young men have sex without bonding because of testosterone. Okay, so I'm going too far now. My point is this, is on the other side of andropause for men, when the testosterone drops radically, they don't want to be alone anymore. They don't want women to live alone anymore. They want companionship like never before in life. So the idea I'm too old, I like young guys, that's when they're younger. When they're a little bit older, over 45, 55 is andropause phase, men don't want to be left alone. They want women around them. They want companionship. They want somebody to travel with if they made a good living, right? They want to ease up in life. They want to pull back with you. So you're not too old. It's the audience is changing, but nature is doing that so that it's working. Like, again, what are we fighting for here? Right? Let's just line up with what works naturally. I'm just saying.
Have you actually looked on the dating sites, on the profiles that are available?
It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
Like,
ridiculous.
I had a friend on a dating profile site. I mean, I'm not on these dating sites, but every picture she looked at, a guy's either holding a beer or he's with his, like the hair's growing out of his ears and his nose, and he's dirty. There's no self-care, one after the other, after the other.
Are you talking about older men, older gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure, for sure. This is why we need women.
That is crazy. And a woman doesn't want to baby him. She doesn't
No,
want
no,
to be
and
his.
of course not. But there is a, you know, honey, when you wear that shirt, you look so gentlemanly. Oh, there's the shirt on. Right? Invitation to, not mother him, Not like take that tank top off, you look like crap. Put that shirt on. That's mothering. No, babe, this shirt on you. Oh, when you dress up, oof, the guy's a little bit fat. You want him to go to the gym, right? You can't say that. You know what I mean? Like you take care of yourself. How many clients have? I'm thin. I'm at the gym. I watch what I eat. He's a little soft and chunky, and he's not really training. And if it worries me, right? You can't tell him that. But if you say something like, "Baby, I have to tell you this. It's quite important, but I need you to hear me out. What's up? You know, you don't go to the gym a lot, and it's okay. But I have to tell you, when you come back, mm, 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 you don't know like how energetically you're different. You sort of stand different. You look at me different. There's a confidence in you. It's just your back is straight. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you come back, you go to the gym. I'm telling you, just so you know, he's gonna be there 5 days a week. He's gonna be there 5 days a week. That's an invitation again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's just you have to know how this stuff works with men. It's very
Yeah.
simple. It's opposite of what works for you. That's part of the problem. But learning this stuff, like, man, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I see it the same way as learning how to communicate effectively.
that's all it
A-
is.
And it some might see it as manipulation, but if that's how you're
Mm.
going to get through,
Mm. I'll tell you what's interesting
then
because people have this thing about manipulation, right? So, give you an example. I'm French, right? So I could go to Paris and order in French, but if you're an American, you don't speak French, right? People go to France and they speak English louder because they think they're gonna, you're gonna hear me when I speak English. This is what we do with men and women. We don't speak the same language and we insist in our way and get louder. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So what I suggest is instead of speaking in a way that doesn't work and louder because you're frustrated, learn to speak fucking French. Excuse my French.
yeah,
Right? So if you want to have a like 7-star, 5-star, 7-course, ideal dream meal in Paris, you should probably learn to speak a little bit of French. So you could order your meal in French so you get what you want. Now, is that manipulation or is that just freaking smart? It's just freaking
exactly,
smart. That's what right.
exactly.
So don't blame men for not learn what works. Learn the language. I call it Manglish. I teach women Manglish. Men have a completely different language. If you want to be heard, right, and to bring out right, learn to speak French with a man who speaks French. Learn to speak English to a man who speaks English, right? But
Yep.
so again, it's not manipulation. It's called being smart. It's doing what works. You could call that manipulation. I think I just call it smart.
I'm with you. I think so too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I really
Absolutely.
appreciated that. I'm sure our viewers will have learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Good.
And
Thank you. Lovely meeting
all
you.
right.
Thank you for the good
Likewise.
questions. You got me
Yeah.
going. Real good.
Yeah. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Chat soon. Bye bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
If you liked the content of this video and you want to learn more, Andre and I have agreed to have a live Candidly session on Zoom this month. You are invited to attend or email your questions to us and we will answer them live. Send an email to Natasha at spiritualwarriorjourney.com and we will send you the details. We would love to hear from you.